You're a professional content creator, you probably already know this, but stay in the video anyway. And if you're a beginner, you should know that one of the most important parts of a video for social media is the audio. A video without audio can't convey the message. And that's why today, in this video, I want to introduce you to one of the latest releases from Boya, the Boya Magic. A super versatile set of microphones that will allow us to capture audio very easily in any kind of situation. This microphone set is very affordable for what it offers, so I'll show it to you in detail in this video. I think it's very important to tell you a bit about the unboxing. When we open the box of this Boya Magic, the first thing we find is the set of microphones. In this way, it comes with a reducer for S sounds, or those sharp sounds we make with our mouth. Wind hits, like with P's or S's, which make a very sharp sound. Well, this little filter dampens it. Underneath, we'll find the two microphones that we can use either like this or combined as one for doing interviews. For example, how do you open this plastic compartment and use each of them as a separate lapel microphone? Later, we'll go deeper into how this microphone set works, but let's see what else comes in the case. First, there's a cable to connect the receiver, which we'll also see later, to a digital camera like the one I use for these videos. On the other hand, we're gonna have several receivers. By default, we'll have one that's magnetized on the bottom. USB-C for all kinds of mobile devices nowadays. We also get a Lightning one to adapt it to any type of iPhone that's a few years old. And we have a receiver that we can attach to a digital camera with a 3.5mm jack USB-C port and a couple of buttons to turn it on and adjust the volume. On the other hand, we're going to find a couple of dead cats. And no, I'm not talking about the animal, I'm referring to these sets of fur that allow us to reduce the impact of wind on the microphone. In this case, for when we use it as a lavalier, that is, a lapel microphone. We'll also have one like the high frequency noise reducer I mentioned, but this one is for wind. A dead cat, one of those furry ones, to put over the whole microphone setup, if we're, for example, conducting street interviews. And it would look like this, as you can see, very similar to the high frequency noise reducer, but this way we reduce the impact of the wind when we're outside. And finally, we get a couple of USB-C cables so we can charge both the base, which is this stick, this set of microphones, and the receiver, which we can also charge with USB-C. Everything in this set works with USB-C. Boya also sent us this desktop stand, which is essentially a table support for when we want to do, for example, interviews and we need to place the microphone on a solid stand. So that with the screw we have on the bottom of the microphone set, we screw it in. On this stand, we point it in the direction we want. This loosens, letting us point the mic up, down, and in any direction. Then we tighten this knob and we could leave it, as you see, like an interview microphone. Now let's move on to some slightly technical aspects, and then we'll see what the quality of these microphones is like. What is this microphone for? It supports 4 distinct uses. On one hand, we have the use as a lavalier microphone, which would be, well, taking each of these units and attaching it to our tie. We can do it either with a clip or with a magnet. The way you're seeing here, would it look like this? It's a really tiny thing like a pill, pretty much like the ones we take when we're sick. This way, we capture the speaker's voice as closely and cleanly as possible. Then, for the second use, we put it back in the box, and you'll see that on the top part, there are some little slots. We're going to be able to use it as an interview microphone by attaching this accessory here. This way, we could be interviewing someone with this whole setup without handing it over. That capsule is so tiny we could drop it on the street and not notice. We use it like this as an interview microphone. The third use, as I mentioned, is as a desktop microphone using the Boya desk mount by screwing it in. And this way, we can use it for interviews. Or for example, if we're having a meeting, we can use it through Teams. Well, we could position it more or less focused on our mouth, but on the desk, resting on the desk. Just like, I don't know, a press conference for example, and we're recording from farther away with our mobile phone. And finally, one of the uses we can give it is as a camera mount, that is, placed on top of our digital camera. to improve the quality of the internal microphone, which is usually very bad. Now, some facts about these microphones. As I mentioned before, they look like a pill that we take when we're sick. They are 1 centimeter thick, weigh 7 grams, super compact, very practical to put absolutely anywhere without being bothersome and without being noticeable. And of course, without being noticeable. Also, for example, the microphones I usually use are heavier and pull the shirt down a bit. These microphones have very good quality, 48 kilohertz sampling rate, 24 bits, which gives the sound full high definition quality. It's one of the best things for audio. We also have a 144 decibel dynamic range and a 20 to 20,000 frequency response. This way, we can capture both deep bass and the highest frequencies, the sharpest sounds in a much clearer way. Later, I'll show you the mobile app from which we can control a lot of parameters. For security, to ensure everything is properly recorded, we have 2 options. The first is an intelligent limiter that prevents the wave's upper parameters from distorting. The second option lets us record one audio channel at a level 12 decibels lower than the other. That way, if at any point the audio gets distorted, we can recover it from the track that was recorded at a lower gain. Then, as it couldn't be any other way, 2025 artificial intelligence. These microphones use artificial intelligence to reduce noise by up to 40 decibels. So we can be in a fast, noisy place without anything being heard. That is, on a street where birds are singing and cars are passing by, we can be recording without any problem without our surroundings being heard. 2 modes are offered, one that silences at 40 decibels and another that silences at 15 decibels. For quieter settings, where we also don't want to affect the natural tone of the voice, which is somewhat lost when we use these noise reduction algorithms. As for battery and autonomy, each microphone individually costs less. It has 6 hours of battery life for recording. Of course, that's when the battery is fully charged. However, hey, if we fully charge our case, how much time do we have? Well, each independent microphone, 6 hours. However, with the use of the case, we would have up to 30 hours of recording time, which is really great. The microphones can transmit up to 100 meters in ideal, unobstructed environments. In situations where we talk on the phone and move around, getting closer or farther, 100 meters makes sense, right? Honestly, moving 10 or 20 meters in a video is pretty easy, and you should know that you'll be totally covered and that in no case will you lose the microphone coverage. However, I won't keep you any longer. Let's try them out. Let's see what the app lets us do. And that way, you can also decide for yourselves if they fit your needs. Let's take a look at the mobile app for this Boya Magic. The first thing to connect it to your phone is to take out this small adapter that's magnetically attached to the bottom and plug it into your phone's USB-C port, just like this as shown here. Initially, you'll notice 2 blue LEDs indicating that neither microphone is connected. Now I'm gonna take the first microphone, which would actually be number 1, and I'm gonna put it on my shirt. Now we go to the Boya app. It tells us that the Boya Magic devices have been connected. We go inside, and here you can already see the microphone volume appearing. Let's explain a little bit what all these parameters we have here are. First, the output gain. We can set it to 3 levels, from 1 to 2 and to 3. In my case, it's set to 2 by default, so we'll be doing the test there. It usually stays in the green zone and occasionally reaches the orange zone, but it doesn't seem too bad. Next, we have noise cancellation, which we can activate either from here or with the little button on the microphone itself. If we click it, you'll see that noise cancellation is activated. This way, we can also activate the 2 levels I mentioned earlier, -40 and -15 decibels. Right now, since I'm at home, I'm going to turn it off. We have recording modes. Here we have 2, mono and stereo in stereo. Each microphone would record on a separate track. Since I'm only using one, I'll set it to mono, so that it's easier for the editor to edit it and they don't have to duplicate the tracks later. Safety track. Is this what I was telling you about earlier? It makes the second track 12 decibels lower than the first one. This ensures if the first gets saturated, the second is still recorded properly. But right now, this isn't going to be necessary either. From here, we can mute the transmitter. We can also add some equalizations. For example, original, vocal boost, low cut. These are high-pass filters, or we can customize it to our liking. Then, we can keep the transmitter lights on or turn them off. In the same way, if we open the second microphone, you'll see that now if I set it to stereo, we're going to have each of the two on completely separate tracks. If I tap on 2 modifications now, you'll see that the track it records is number 2. While the one I have in my mouth right now would be number 1 so we could record up to 2 people at the same time. But hey, if we want to record an interview, we just put both microphones inside the box. We hold this button for a few seconds and we can see that the microphone reconnects. And would it be picking up sound through those slots you see there to use this? As if it were, well, a typical interview microphone. Normally, the microphone I use to record you is this big one I have here. And now we're going to start the tests in 3 different ways to see how they sound. This is Boya Magic. The first way, and the one I always like the most, is to bring it as close as possible to the sound source. So we've placed the microphone on this left side. Let's see how it sounds when I snap my fingers. Now you're already listening to the Boya Magic. Let me know how it sounds. I'm not listening to it right now. Are you seeing it before me? It's not gonna have any kind of post-processing, so you can see at all times how this microphone behaves, for example. Now we're going to switch back to the previous one, and this is how you usually hear me. One thing we can do is add the dead cat, these little hairs, to reduce the wind, and see how it sounds this way. Let's see now how the microphones perform. In an environment where they have to reduce noise, we've activated noise reduction up to -40 decibels. As you can see in the background, will you hear a song now? I don't want it to be heard too much either, so I don't get a copyright strike, but let's see how it sounds. If we now switch to Boya Magic, now you're hearing me with Boya Magic. Let's see if you can still hear the song in the background, which I suppose you could with the microphone I always use. I'm going to speak a bit more intermittently to see if you can hear the song or if it completely reduces it. Also, see if you notice any change in voice quality. Now what I've done is set the microphone to interview mode, whether it's for handheld use or like right now, I've put it on the Boya stand. Basically, I've placed it a little more than a hand's width away from my mouth. So, this could simulate an interview, a press conference, or for example, placing it on the table at our desk for a Teams call. Let's see how it sounds, and from this moment on, you're hearing me through the Boya Magic. Let me know how it sounds. It's best to keep the microphone as close as possible to the sound source. In this case, our mouth would be better near the tie. However, in this case, we're using it much farther away. Let's see what audio quality this Boya Magic offers us. And tomorrow we'll try it out on the street at the maximum distance we can move away. In this case, we're going to test it very quickly. Are you already hearing me through the Boya Magic? How would my voice sound? With the equation, the one with vocal boost, a default equalization included in the Boya app can be applied to these microphones. After testing and listening to the audio, I conclude that this is a well-balanced entry-level microphone at a very affordable price. It offers us 2 microphones to make videos together with 2 people, which is always going to be useful. A microphone that we can use on a desk, a microphone that we can use on our camera, a microphone that we can use in any kind of situation. I think the audio quality is very good, a basic quality that if we know how to equalize, we can improve a lot more, especially in the depth of the voice, so to speak. However, hey, when we turn on noise reduction, our voice quality gets a little bit worse. Although we've completely lost the song, which is what we were interested in, what about when we turned on the vocal boost? The truth is we haven't gained much either, so I recommend recording with standard quality and then, if we want, adding post-processing afterwards. However, for social media, for a TikTok video, for an Instagram video, it's going to be perfect. Because these are microphones that hide really well. They don't take up any space. We don't even notice them, and we can carry them around. And it's going to greatly improve the experience for our audience, for our viewers. Now you're listening to me through the Boya again, about a hand's width from my mouth, approximately. The only difference is that now the audio is being recorded directly onto the digital camera with the receiver for the camera. Let's test how the Boya Magic sounds outside, and I'm gonna walk away down this whole alley so you can see that we can get as far as 100 meters away, which is about the length of this alley. Let's meet halfway and hear how it sounds. Also, as I walk away, you'll be able to see if you can hear any background noise or if you can hear any wind. Today there's little wind since it's summer, but you'll see how well they sound outdoors. Here I am about 50 meters away from the phone, and I suppose you can still hear me well. Let's move a little farther away, and right now I'm about 100 meters or so from the phone. Basically on a good road, you can tell if ambient sound is picked up when cars pass by. Let's test this in real time by activating noise cancellation to see how well it works. In principle, now the noise cancellation should be activated, and even if cars pass behind me, you shouldn't be able to hear them, or at least they shouldn't interfere with this conversation. Well, I was reviewing the video, and in fact, about 100 meters away is exactly the coverage limit of these microphones you've seen, because you could still hear me, but the audio transmission is no longer perfect. It starts to have dropouts. But, well, I think that's more than enough distance. Hey, recording at 100 meters isn't an everyday thing, but for dynamic videos where we move far away, it's more than enough. So that's it, guys. I hope you like this Boya Magic. This set of microphones is entry level, so to speak, but it offers us very good quality and a wide range of recording possibilities in all kinds of environments. A highly recommended option for all of you, especially if you're just starting out and have never had a set of microphones before. Well, this is it. These will work well for you since they're not limited to one use and let you do everything. And you're going to have really good quality already. The price of this standard microphone set is 140 euros. However, right now they're being launched and there's an offer that I don't know yet, but we'll show it on screen and it will be for a limited time. So hurry up and get this microphone set in the most affordable way possible. As always, we'll leave the cheapest purchase link for you below in the description. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. We hope you enjoyed the video. If so, leave a like. See you next time. Goodbye.